Hello and welcome to the first in the episodes of our new Employment and HG series. My name is Faye and I have spent the last 2.5 years volunteering for pregnancy sickness support as a peer support volunteer. I recently joined the PSS team full-time as the Individual Giving and Partnerships Officer. I've had 2 HG pregnancies with my girls now 7 and 3. In this series, we are exploring the topic of employment and HG. Over the next few days, I will be talking with HG sufferers and hearing about how they manage their careers while suffering with hyperemesis. Today, I am talking to Kate Wright. Kate is a self-employed jewellery designer and maker who has just welcomed her second baby into the world. Kate has 2 children and has suffered with HG in her second pregnancy. Kate, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Really excited to talk to you about how you manage your business while suffering so badly. So before we sort of get into the ins and outs of HG, Kate, can you tell me a little bit about your business and what a typical day would usually look like?
Yeah, sure. So I normally drop my son off to preschool at 9 o'clock. I run back as fast as I can, get a coffee, then I crack on. And it depends what sort of stage I'm at with designing and making. Sometimes it's a full designing morning where I'm sat trying to come up with creative ideas for new jewellery. Other days I'm mid-flow of getting all my orders done. So it's lots of making and lots of glues and things, which I'll go on to later. Some days it's a post run, and then I normally have to wrap it up by about 2 o'clock to get my son. So it's a lot of creativity, it's a lot of making at the moment, and I'm starting to get back into it. So I'm covered with jewellery again, which is really nice. But yeah,
oh, that's exciting. So can you tell me a little bit about your HG?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was sort of, as soon as I was pregnant, I knew it was a different pregnancy. I'd been pregnant with my son and had the classic kind of feeling a bit nauseous, and I'd have a little biscuit and feel better and that sort of thing with his pregnancy. And it cleared when I was about 13 weeks. But with Emily's pregnancy, it was just so different straight away. It was just the constant feeling was there. And I was very, very sick, which I wasn't with Sam, like physically throwing up quite a bit. And it wasn't until I think I posted something on Instagram and you sort of picked it up and said, oh, why don't you try this website? So it was, I was kind of not feeling like I was being ill enough to be warranting it, if that makes sense, because you're kind of like told to get on with it, and you're told to, it's morning sickness, you're pregnant, and this sort of thing. But it was a different beast completely this time around. So yeah, it's been managed with a lot of different drugs throughout the pregnancy. Sort of as hormones have changed, I needed to switch it up a bit, but it was managed mainly through the tablets, I think, throughout. So
yeah, so you were given some help and support from was it your GP or your midwife that helped you through that case?
It was GP. So I got in contact with PSS, and they sort of gave me a really good outline of sort of different things I could ask the doctor, because it felt a bit like they don't really see a lot of it in my mind the way that they were with me, and they kind of did well, it is morning sickness, you'll get it because you're pregnant. And
yeah,
I said, well, it's a different level, and I have had a pregnancy, so I do know what it feels like, and this isn't it. So could I have something, please? And they prescribed me something. Then I can't remember what it was now, because it's just, I had quite a few. As they changed it up, they prescribed me another one and said, oh, take it together. So in my mind, it was like take 2 tablets at exactly the same time, and that was not good. So I found the pregnancy support group was fantastic, because I went to them and sort of said, this is happening, and educating the doctors more than anything, because sort of you guys have such a good knowledge on what works, and the doctors are kind of just going through the textbook rather than going through what living experiences are. So
yeah,
it was just so useful to have that backing sort of thing. So yeah.
oh well, I'm thrilled to hear that we were able to help you. So can you tell me how having HG, how did that impact your business? What impact did it have on you being able to work and run your business?
Oh, it wrote last year off, to be honest. I'm still sort of coming to through it, I think, with the mental side of it, but it was just instant impact, because I was so tired. I would normally come in and blitz everything in those 5 hours that I had, but I could barely get off the sofa or out of bed in some cases. And it was just, I think I paused my business for 3-4 weeks, I think it was, towards the start of the pregnancy, just to get my head around it and to get the tablets sorted. And I was still working on stuff, but it was not taking orders and things like that. So I had quite a financial impact straight away. And then as the pregnancy went on, I realised I really needed to pace myself. So I wasn't releasing as regularly as I would normally do, because I normally do sort of a themed release every 6 to 8 weeks. And I think I ended up doing it every 12 weeks, if that, at the height of it. So the impact of it really shook it straight away. And I just couldn't output as much as I did, because the making just, I got confused really easily, where I was just feeling so rough. And yeah, it was just foggy constantly. And then the flip side of it is this materials that I use make a lot of smell, and it was very triggering for the sickness. So I'd be lasering some acrylic and they all smelled slightly differently, but it was really heightened when I was pregnant, and it would instantly kick me off. And then I've got it next to me, this glue stuff that stinks, and that was instant. I need to chuck up in a bucket,
and
kind
of course,
thing.
Kate,
So,
you're a team of one, so
yeah,
you can't pass that work on to anybody else, can you? Because
no.
it's really, really specialist equipment that you're working with, and you have specialist skills. So you can't just, ask your partner or somebody or your mum to come in and help you, because you're not going to be able to.
No, and at one point Nick was just like, my husband said, oh, well, why don't I just learn how to use the laser, and I can at least get that bit out of the way, so you're not having to smell that. And it's one of those, I would happily do it, but on an insurance side of things, I don't know how that would have fitted in. And it was, I just didn't want to risk it. So kind of just took it on the chin and did what I could when I could. So, yeah.
And obviously, I'm a creative, so I'm interested to know, how was your creative process affected by it as well? Because when you're a designer, so much of it comes within, and if you're feeling lousy, were you able to even come up with the ideas? Or
there'd sort of be flash in the pan moments of, I'm going to do this, because I am such a quick worker. Once I get an idea in my head, it's normally a few hours, because I've got the laser right next to me. I'm really fortunate in that. Some makers don't. So when I get an idea, I just have to do it, and it has to be instant. And it was so weird to be like, I've got that great idea. No, I'm going to lie down for a few hours or days and not do anything. And it was just soul destroying. It really blocked my confidence as well, just thinking I can't do it. It's a really weird situation to be in. I just thought I'd be able to push through it, and it wasn't happening. So I had to just sort of step back and reserve my energy. When it happened, but if it didn't, I just had to learn to cope with that in a way. So it was big impact.
And you've touched on it briefly already, Kate, but how did pregnancy sickness support help you with your HG?
So initially it was I did the web chat part of it. It was brilliant, because I didn't feel like talking to someone at that point, because I was feeling so miserable, and it was one of those, I felt quite sick, so I couldn't speak, kind of thing. So just to be able to tap on my phone and say, this is the situation I'm in, is there anything that I can do, was fantastic. And I can't remember the name of the person now, but they were back to me straight away within a few minutes, and just having a really nice dialogue. It was really supportive, and it didn't feel, because up until that point I had quite a few people just going, it's just morning sickness, you'll be fine. And I don't think anyone really understood, and it was just nice to have that person on the end going, no, this will be horrible, you will be feeling this, it is normal to feel that. It's not normal, but it's
normal for HG.
Yeah, it's normal for HG, but it was just that kind of nice to have that recognition. And it was she gave me lots of links through an email, and from that point I sort of managed to get in contact with the doctors, knew how to speak to the doctor and get the right care from the doctor. Like I said earlier, it was kind of, they knew to give stuff, but they didn't quite know how to fit it together very well. Whereas when I looked at stuff from the support website, it was so brilliant just to be able to piece it together myself and work it out and get the different meds that worked. So
because we talk a lot about on these chats, we talk a lot about the peer support, which obviously we offer, where somebody like me who've suffered it before will be messaging and letting you know that we're there and that we've been through it. And but we don't talk that much on these episodes about the other parts to the charity, and obviously the web chat is a huge part of that. And we've also got a similar facility over WhatsApp, and there's so many great resources on the website, aren't there, that sort of highlight the information that you can take to your employer, or information that you can take to your doctors, just to get that level of support that you need.
Yeah, and it was even, I think there was a PDF of how to speak to your family about it, because my family are incredibly supportive, but I think they still thought it's just morning sickness, not
Yeah,
this extra level of discomfort and unpleasantness that it was, for sure. So it was really useful to have that kind of framework to get in my head and discuss it with people as well. So yeah,
brilliant.
totally available.
And finally, Kate, before we end our chat, have you got any tips for anyone that is struggling with HG at the moment and might be trying to run their own business?
Oh, I think it is just be easy on yourself. I was so hard on myself to start with. I felt such a failure, but then I started flipping it around and thinking, I've managed to do that today. That's really good. Well done. I think the main thing is break down what you need to do and do what you can when you can, and not feel bad about it. For some reason, I work better in the evenings. It wasn't as strong in the evenings, so I sort of store up everything I needed to do and get it done in the evenings. And I had a bin next to me and a packet of stuff, and just stuff that I knew I could just about stomach to keep me going when I was working. It was just that little kit in my sort of, I'm pointing down here because it was down here, in the garage with me where I am now. But yeah, it's definitely just do what you can when you can, and plan loosely, because things might change. I found my pregnancy changed quite a bit, levels of energy and stuff throughout the pregnancy. So yeah.
And Kate, did you suffer all the way up until the birth of baby?
Yeah, I think I had my best month was the month before she was born, and the tablets just kicked in beautifully, and I slept really well. It was really lovely, but up until that point, they kind of subsided it, but it was constantly there still. So yeah, it was interesting times.
And how does it feel? Did it pass as soon as Emily was born?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay, great. And how does it feel now that you can be in that workshop working?
Oh, it's great. I enjoy it. I found, I can see it, it's just behind there. There's a necklace that I made at my height of my really bad point, and I found it the other day, and the feeling came back. It was really, I didn't expect anything physical like that to come back, but the memory just went, whoa. So yeah, it was, instantly went away, but instantly comes back. And it's certain things that I ate throughout the pregnancy that was like mashed potato was my main food source throughout. And
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't stomach that now. I look at it and it's just, nope, that's no anymore. So yeah,
that's actually from all the ladies I've supported, I know that triggers, even after your baby's born, how long they can continue to affect you for. And they can be, so that's the first time I've heard one say something from sight, but smell, taste, sounds,
yeah,
all of these can still trigger that same reaction.
Oh, absolutely. And I keep finding little bits like the old tablet packets in my drawer when I'm tidying out, and it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. It was last year that was all happening. So yeah,
I think you sort of find a way to battle through it, don't you? But I think the after effects can stay with you for quite a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And just get support if you are in that situation. Don't hold back. It's not minimal. You're not causing any fuss. Just get some help. Definitely.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me today, Kate.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And it's lovely to see your studio and see you back in there and working again. Thank you, Kate. If you are suffering from HG, please visit pregnancysicknesssupport.org.uk for information on our services, as well as details on how you can get involved with fundraising or volunteering.